So asshole, portal to God, tell us about how it is involved with separating ejaculation and orgasm.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people think the asshole is just an out hole. Like, and for guys, there's a huge amount of shame and a huge amount of fear around anal pleasure. Like my younger self, I am a heterosexual male, but I did used to have this sort of fear of, oh, if my asshole is even touched in a sexual way, for some reason, it'll change my sexual orientation and turn me gay.
Yeah.
You know, which would be fine. Like, but that was a fear. And that's a fear a lot of heterosexual guys have that actually keeps them from exploring this part of themselves. Most people don't know that we're actually wired with our neurons to experience sexual pleasure in our anus too. Like there's a massive amount of pleasure that's possible there.
For men and women.
For men and women. Yeah. For all bodies, all genders, you know, and for men, we have this extra little thing called a prostate that's inside the anal region. And I'll just say, like, if you've never had a blowjob while your prostate is being stimulated, you are fucking missing out.
Have you lived?
Have you lived? I question if you've really, you know, you haven't felt the full joy of what it's like to be in a male body, you know? So like, if you if you just want to experience more pleasure, like that's great, you know, but a lot of guys will say that actually experiencing anal penetration themselves is the thing that unlocked their system to be able to experience full body orgasmic pleasure. And if we analyze that a little bit, like, well, look around in society, we have a whole tight ass syndrome is everywhere. We're all sort of rigid. We're carrying around a lot of tension. Like if you're listening to this right now, I would bet money that you could probably relax your pelvic floor and your anus some amount, even just a little bit amount, you know? And so when we do that, this is at the root of our body. This is at the root of our whole sexual system. And in the yogic systems that you're talking about and some of the tantric systems, like this root is correlated with our deepest survival instincts, you know, our vitality, our sustainability as a being. And so if we're tight there and if we're not open there, like that's going to impact everything we do and our ability to have our sexual energy flow throughout our system. So opening that up can, how do I want to say this? It just expands what's possible in pleasure. And I do want to acknowledge also that it can be terrifying and very scary to experience. Like the first time I was penetrated by an ex-partner with her finger, it was a deeply powerful and moving experience for me. I got mad, I got angry, and I got scared, and I got frustrated. I got angry at her for some reason, which was totally misplaced projection, but that came up for me. And I realized like, holy shit, this is what it's actually like to be penetrated. Like I'm letting this person into my body. That's so scary. Like get the fuck away from me. Like all this stuff came up. And then I realized, oh my God, like this is what I've been doing to people my whole sexual life. Like I've just been penetrating, not totally mindlessly, but not with the level of mindfulness and care that I could have now that I know what it's like to be penetrated.
Yeah. Know? It's like every heterosexual man should experience anal penetration, full stop, just to understand the vulnerability of it, just to understand what it's like to have a pussy, or if you're going to penetrate a woman's asshole, like to really get what that feels like. It changes the game of how you approach it.
Totally. Yeah. And just to be clear, like I've experienced fingers in my butt. I've experienced toys in my butt. My romantic partner, who's a woman, has pegged me, which means fucked me with a strap on. There's a deeply sexually erotic, amazing, intimate experience. I'm still heterosexual. I'm still attracted to women. So we can just put that fear to the side. Right. And I feel so much more open in my system. I feel so much more alive when I have semi-regular like anal experiences. Now I did make a course on anal, and it's so interesting to see like people, when they saw that, they thought, oh, you must be obsessed with anal. Like, you must want anal all the time. And I'm like, no, like it's great sometimes, but like, I'm not obsessed with it. But isn't it interesting that if I make a resource about it, everybody thinks, oh, you must be obsessed. This must be your kink because who else talks about this? You know, I'm like, no, we need to talk about it for the full spectrum of what it means to be a sexual person.
Great. So if I am a man right now listening to this and I want to start to open up anal pleasure, can you share what you would do in a pleasure practice, let's say, to start to explore anal pleasure?
Yeah. So obviously you might want to shower first. And I'm a fan of just touching the outside of your anus, right? What I will say is most people don't find anal stimulation pleasurable unless penile stimulation is also happening at the same time. So yeah, get aroused, touch your penis, touch whatever part of your body you want to, and then just explore with even a little bit of pressure around the anal region. Maybe even start with the perineum, the area between your testicles and your anus, because there's a lot of pleasure that can happen there too. And you might notice as you get closer to your anus, like, wow, this actually feels really good. Maybe I'll go a little bit more. Maybe I'll go a little bit more. And if you're squeamish and you don't want to use your fingers, there's all kinds of toys out there. And I would recommend just start. Just touch yourself, touch your body, realize that your body is a fucking magnificent instrument of sexual pleasure and aliveness. And like, just start. I don't know.
I gave Andrew, I remember like years and years and years ago, right? I gave Andrew his first prostate massage, which was conscientiously stroking his penis, bringing him into pleasure, and then actually stroking his prostate from inside his anus. And he had an orgasm that blew his mind. It was so different than what he'd experienced from just penile pleasure. And from that, he started becoming interested in exploring his anus. So in his self-pleasure practices, he actually bought, I think I remember it was like a large butt plug, like a long butt plug, and he would touch himself and he would slowly insert it. And he just step by step developed that level of familiarity with his own asshole, because that's also very necessary to being able to enjoy your partner putting a finger up there or a strap on up there or a tongue up there, right? All of which are, it's so funny that we associate the anus with just queer or homosexual, but a woman can do so much to activate the asshole, right? It's totally possible to have a full anal experience in a heterosexual relationship. And thank God for the queer community, and thank God for gay men for leading the way of really owning how sacred anal sex is, how powerful the prostate is for really holding, I would say, this like candle for society of like what is possible for male pleasure in a way that like heterosexual people just forgot, again, like wool over the eyes and like, oh, women don't touch assholes. It's crazy how our own bodies could become so foreign to us and so off limits when there's nothing there but pleasure potential, but orgasm potential.
Yeah. And energetically speaking, I remember one time I was having sex with my girlfriend, my partner, and I had a butt plug in and we had sex for a while. And at the end of the sexual experience, I did choose to ejaculate that time. And I took the butt plug out, and there was this amazing experience that was in my torso and in my hips and my whole pelvic region. It just felt more expansive than I was used to. It felt like there was this spaciousness or this channel that was opened up in me. And there were these deep feelings of connection to the divine and reverence. And we actually just spontaneously just started speaking prayers out loud. And I know that wouldn't have happened if I didn't have that butt plug in. It's a crazy story, but it did open me to God, if you want to call it that.
That's what I say. I say your asshole is a portal to God, and people are like, what the hell does that mean? That's what it means.
It was amazing. It was amazing. We ended up in tears, but I do want to actually give one technique. Yeah. Here's a technique I love. If you want to explore your asshole in the shower, if you're a guy, thumbs up. Just think thumbs up. You can reach around behind yourself, insert your thumb into your anus with some silicone-based lube. Water-based lube doesn't work so well in the shower. The pad of your thumb will actually be right at the perfect spot to stimulate your prostate, and you will feel it. And then the parts of your fingers and knuckles in front of that can stimulate your perineum on the other side. And it feels so fucking good. And then when you're done, you're just in the shower so you can wash off. It's simple, easy. And I think that's my favorite hand technique, more so than reaching around the front with the pointer fingers. The thumbs up the butt.
Pleasure shower. I love it.
It's great.
All right. I have 3 rapid round questions. So
hit me.
The first is, I'm listening to this and I'm like, holy shit, I want to give my partner a blowjob with prostate stimulation. Yeah. What should I do?
Talk about it. Talk about it first. Definitely no surprise fingers in the asshole. That would be traumatizing. Very bad idea. I think have an intentional conversation. Say, hey, I listened to this wild podcast where they said actually men can experience much more pleasure if they have their prostate stimulated. Like, was that something you'd be open to trying?
Yeah.
Why or why not? You'd be surprised, like just what an opening conversation can do.
Totally. And it's like you would give them a blowjob. You can actually stimulate the prostate from the pelvic floor, right? You don't even need to do internal stimulation, but it generally feels better with internal stimulation. Yeah. You want a nail clipped, or if you want to stay like fucking, I don't know what the word is for that. What is the word for my long ass nail when I don't want to take it off? I had to cut it in a pussy massage training, and it was like a French team of people. And I was like crying as I clipped my nail because I couldn't like massage a pussy with a long fingernail. And the French is so French. They were like, Layla, you are aware the nail will grow back. I was like, but I love my long ass nails. So anyways, you either clip your nail or you can do gloves with like a cotton ball around it.
Yeah.
Lubrication, very, very important. And if you're a woman doing this, think of internal insertion into the pussy, right? How someone just putting a finger in your pussy sucks, right? Usually like playing with the outside of the pussy, like dancing around it light, like not even penetrating yet, but kind of pulsating to the opening of the pussy. And then when you feel the pussy's receptivity, like it's opened, then you start gently inserting, then waving, and only if the person's like super turned on do you go any more intense than that. So you can do all of that while you are giving him a hand job or sucking his cock, right? Or a person with a penis who doesn't identify as a male, like all of that is 101 blowjob with prostate. And it's not as hard as we think it is.
Yeah. And I would say it's usually important for the guy to feel, or the person with a penis to feel very aroused before anal penetration starts.
Yes.
Like the arousal is something that will help relax the pelvic floor and open. And then, go slow, encourage the person with a penis to breathe deeply and just be with them.
Yeah.
And